So before I continue on with Nintendo, I think we'll quickly move over to some Sega stuff. Master System, I didn't even know the Master System existed until I started collecting. I always thought that the Genesis was Sega's first console. My Master System collection isn't actually that big, so I don't have too much to show for it. So we just have some scrolling shooters here. So R-Type, one that everyone knows. And Scramble Spirits is actually a very 1942 or /3-esque shooter. And it's a really fun game. Let's see, these two games are really in the way. Let's put them on the floor so I got a bit more space on the table over here. And push those. Yeah, sorry for that. I just need to rearrange because I'm going to need a lot more space. So that's really all I have to show for a Master System. No, am I saying? Yeah, it is the Master System. Yeah, okay. I know that there's the Game Gear Sonics report of the Master System. I unfortunately haven't had the opportunity to pick any of those up yet, but I'm looking for those, and I hope to get them someday. So, so moving on to Genesis, of course, you have to mention the Genesis Sonic games, which were very awesome. Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, whether you prefer the official version or the pirate version, which has no lock-on on the top. I don't know why they bothered. But yeah, my favorite Genesis game, and right up there with Adventure 2, my favorite Sonic game, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Very, very fun games when you combine them, and then makes it all complete. I believe the story behind that was that they were supposed to be complete games, but they wanted to get it out before Christmas or something like that, so they released Sonic 3, and then they pretty much made the rest of the game and released that later. So they pretty much made double the money, I guess. But overall, when you put them together, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, an incredible game. And then the pirate version, for some reason, someone felt the need to make that. Let's see, what am I crushing here? One moment, while I rearrange some stuff, so I can stack more on top of this. And if I move that there, and place these Famicom cartridges on the ground, that will give me some more room to pick up some stuff. Alright, cool. As far as more Genesis stuff goes, Columns 3, a very fun puzzle game. Well, like, all the Columns games, really. I just decided to show number 3 is one is good too. I don't think I've ever actually seen Columns 2. Thunder Force, another Thunder Force 2, very fun scrolling shooter, and Vector Man. It was sort of like the Mega Man of the Genesis. So, I mean, people who know about the Wily Wars are going to be yelling at me saying that was the Mega Man game of the Genesis, since it was Mega Man, even though it was never actually released in cartridge form, and was only available via the Sega channel. And I unfortunately don't have the Wily Wars, and definitely really want that too, and plan to pick that up someday, because it's the first 3 Mega Man games combined, and then once you beat all of them, you get Wily's Tower, and I really want to play that. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to show for Sega. For now, we're going to get to, of course, Saturn and Dreamcast and stuff like that later. But continuing on, I think we're going to move on to the N64. And of course, the N64 collection would be complete without Super Mario 64. And of course, it's one of my favorite games, just because of the way it revolutionized 3D gaming. And just because it's overall a very awesome game, very fun. 120 stars to collect, just incredible. Lots of stuff to find, and of course I've already gone over that. I love games like that. Mario Party 3 it's probably my favorite Mario Party in the entire series. Overall I love the N64 Mario Parties, and it's cool that there's going to be a 9th one coming out. I'm not sure what to think of the trailer yet. 8 was not the greatest, but some of the GameCube ones are good too. I mean, 4 is pretty fun. 5 is kind of neat. I mean, they're pretty neat. But overall, the 3 N64 ones will always be my favorite, and number 3 will always be my favorite out of all of them. As that was back when I guess it was fresh, and it was just overall a lot of fun. It also had a ton of different items too, like the reverse mushroom, which probably one of my favorite items from that game. So then we have GoldenEye 007 with the face that no one can unsee after they have seen it. And yeah, overall, incredible game. The very first-person shooter that I ever played, and here's the Japanese version. It's funny because the Japanese version, instead of just James Bond holding a gun like he does in the North American version, you could also get the face on the cartridge as well. But yeah, very fun first-person shooter. Music's very good. Created by Rare, back when they were like the best company, like Donkey Kong Country, GoldenEye. Just I could go on about them for hours about how I used to love them and about how it's pretty sad what's happened to them today. Because I don't even know what the games they're making these days. So yeah, so there was a Japanese Donkey, not Donkey Kong, sorry. I guess unless you're playing on DK mode, but yeah, GoldenEye. And I also didn't show the Japanese Mario 64 that I have down there. Alright, let's see, what's up next for 64? We have Diddy Kong Racing. Very fun racing game. I actually like Diddy Kong Racing more than I like Mario Kart 64, just because of the whole adventure aspect of it. I mean, collecting the balloons, finding the hidden keys, the fact that you're on a quest to defeat Whizpig. I mean, it's just so much more fun than just racing through cups and trying to get a gold trophy, right? I mean, very fun. And then you also, I have the Japanese version here too. Just I picked it up one day because usually if I really, really like a game, I'll also pick up the foreign copies of it too. So like in this case, the Japanese version of it. Or like as you saw Mario World, I had like 4 different regions of it. But yeah, usually if I like a game, I'll pick up different regions versions of it too, because I just love it that much and I really want to add it to my collection. Another very awesome game, Donkey Kong 64. A game which many people think had way too many items to collect. You had golden bananas, you had coins to buy things with, you had the normal bananas, you had just everything. There is so many things to collect in this game. And considering I love collecting things, this is like my dream come true. For anyone who likes more linear gameplay, they just want to get through it, see the story, this definitely isn't the game for you. But for me, this is like my dream come true. All 201 golden bananas. It was awesome collecting them all. And I can't wait to go back and play it again someday when I have like a year of free time that I can just use to play it, because that's pretty much how long it takes to beat it. I really, really love Donkey Kong 64. Great music again, great level design, just overall tons of fun. Another game, Conker's Bad Fur Day. So like I said, I've beaten 90+% of the games. I actually haven't beat Conker. My sister has. She's actually a really avid video game player too. I know it's rated M, right? And my sister's beat it. I have a little. She's not little. She's 14 years old, but yeah, she's beat this game. I played it quite a bit, and I watched her play it. It's a very fun game, but it's definitely a lot different than various other games at the time. Let's see what else here, and of course, my favorite list of N64 games would not be complete without the 2 Nintendo 64 Zelda games, of course. I have no idea which one I like more. I'm leaning towards Majora's Mask because, I mean, just so many interesting things about it. The whole time system, the whole helping system. But Ocarina of Time was the first one I played, and it has more dungeons and things like that. I really don't know which one's my favorite. And talking about the N64 Zeldas now made me realize that I forgot to show A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo. Because, yeah, even with all the games I'm showing, I'm sure there's going to be some that I'm forgetting about or overlooking. So if there's something you don't see here that you think I probably forgot, just post about it in the comments. But of course I'm not going to like everything too, so who knows. So yeah, that's all I had for actually, that's not all I had for N64, because there's a few games I didn't have in the box. So there's that's how Ocarina of Time looked like in Japan. Just a great cart, like that. I mean, I know ours was a great cart too, but the label's different too. Banjo-Kazooie. Very, very, very fun games, and another display of just how awesome Rare was. I love Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Tooie is a lot of fun too, although I like the first one more. Banjo-Tooie, I felt the levels were too big, and just overall the collecting things, and it just didn't feel as fun as the first game did. I don't know. I like the smaller levels, but there's just so much more to do in them, rather than the bigger, massive levels where it seems like, I don't know, it's just lots of filler space, I guess. What else we got here? Of course, we have Mystical Ninja. Very fun Nintendo, N64 games. I actually don't have the Super Nintendo one. I actually have it for Virtual Console, because I just wanted to play it that bad. But I actually haven't had the opportunity to find it for Super Nintendo yet. But overall, Mystical Ninja, very fun games that anyone should check out if they have the opportunity. And one more N64 game that I want to show, Mega Man 64, also known as Mega Man Legends for Sony PlayStation. Incredible game. One of my favorite N64 games. Too bad the series will probably never see the light of day again. And we'll get more to I'll talk more about that when we get to my PlayStation stack in a little bit. Let's see, what are we going to do now? I think we're going to move on to some original Game Boy stuff, which I've set way over there. Not too many box things for a Game Boy, like original in color and stuff like that. The Donkey Kong Land games for Game Boy are very fun. This is sort of like a portable. It's definitely not an exact copy of the Donkey Kong Country games, especially not the first one. I mean, I know the second and third ones definitely tried to pull a lot more from their Super Nintendo counterparts, but the first one, like the second world was like under the sea, and then the third level was in the clouds, and the fourth level was like industrial land. So definitely didn't pull too much from the Super Nintendo version, but overall it's a lot of fun. Mega Man Extreme 1 and 2 are also a lot of fun, because they sort of pulled levels from the Super Nintendo versions, and then let you play around with them on your Game Boy, so you could take them anywhere, and that was great. Pokemon Pinball, a very interesting game. I don't play too many pinball games, but Pokemon Pinball was pretty fun, because you gotta catch them all, but now in pinball mode. And then, of course, the Pokemon Red and Blue, very, very revolutionary games and RPGs. They're still going on today. Very fun games. Not my favorite Pokemon games, though. I'll show you what my favorite Pokemon game is later. Those are very good games. And also Super Mario Land 1 and 2. Very, very fun games. I love the Pokemon trading card game. I've already done a random game of the day on that. But my favorite Game Boy series, and carries on to the Game Boy Advance and onwards. Just one of my favorite series of all time that has never had a game that I did not love 100%. It's the Wario Land series. So this is Wario Land 2. It's probably the weakest. I'm not going to say the worst, because I still love it, but the weakest of the 3 Game Boy ones. So you had Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, which is awesome. Wario Land 2, which is still very awesome. And Wario Land 3, which is incredible. And then Wario Land 4, I mean, just... Don't even get me started on Wario Land 4. I love that game so much. But yeah, overall, I love the Wario Land games. Just destroying everything in your path to get as much treasure as you possibly can. Kind of like what I do down here. So maybe that's why I like it so much. I mean, just like destroying everything. Not really, but I love the Wario Land games. It's so much fun. Yeah, the 2 and 3 were kind of weird since there was like no way to die. You kind of just had infinite health, and it was all about just finding the treasure. But then 4, and number 1, 4, and Shake It were incredible games where lots of challenge and lots of hard-to-find secrets. Okay, so that's it. So now we've done Game Boy, Genesis, Master System, NES, Super Nintendo, and maybe some other things buried in there that I'm kind of forgetting about. Alright, what should we do next? We're already up to 28 minutes. This is going to be the longest video in YouTube history. No, probably not. I suppose we'll move on to the Virtual Boy. Yes, the Virtual Boy actually did have decent games. One of them, which just happens to be a Wario Land game. Yes, this is by far the best Virtual Boy game. This is an incredible game. It's not very long, but it is incredible. And back before I became a huge collector, I actually bought the Virtual Boy just for this game, because I am the biggest Wario Land fanatic there is, and I had to play Virtual Boy Wario Land. It is just an awesome game, and makes it worth every penny that I paid for my first Virtual Boy to play that. Other awesome Virtual Boy games, though, Vertical Force is actually very fun. Another vertical scrolling arcade shooter, much like the other ones, like 1943 and stuff like that I was showing. Yeah, what's it called? So the neat gimmick that it uses is the 3D, so you can kind of transfer between foreground and background to dodge enemies and other things. So that's actually really neat. And the last thing I'm going to show for the Virtual Boy is actually one of my favorite versions of Tetris. This was actually only released in Japan, but luckily the Virtual Boy is region-free. V-Tetris, it's actually very fun. A whole bunch of different fun game modes, and I actually really, really like the music that it gives you the option to choose to listen to while you're playing, so that is very fun. Alright, so I can leave that there. We're almost done with everything on the couch, although there's still another table and a whole bunch of other stuff to show too. And I have a lot of other things to say. And we're up to the 29-minute mark, almost at 30. Okay, need a breath for a second. Maybe a drink too. 30-minute mark, break time. I'm talking almost non-stop. Alright, I think we're ready to move on. Next thing I'm going to show, I suppose, will be the TurboGrafx-16 / PC engine, depending on what part of the world you're from. And what I'm going to show first is the Bonk games. They are very fun. You have Bonk's Adventure, and you have Bonk's Revenge, and so I guess the first one and the second one. Very, very fun games. I know there was also a Bonk game for the NES. It's actually very hard to find, but yeah, if you have the opportunity to play a Bonk game, it is very fun. Another thing is for the TurboGrafx CD, we have Buster Brothers, a game I absolutely love. I love the Buster Brothers series. So I know that there's 3 main ones that I've played. And I think there's actually more that have come out since, but very, very fun games. The world's been taken over by bubbles, and it's your job to pop them all. It was originally an arcade game, and it was ported to TurboGrafx, along with other consoles. I have a collection I will show you in the near future. For the Japanese PC engine, we have 1943 Kai, and this is probably my favorite version of 1943. I don't know, it's really debatable between the NES version, which has a lot of levels, it's a lot of fun, and it's a very difficult game, especially the boss rush that makes you go through at the end, which is exhilarating and just awesome. But this has awesome music, awesome graphics, awesome levels, and it is a lot of fun too. It has the arcade version at the beginning, a shortened version of it, and it has some original levels that you won't play anywhere else at the end if you make it far enough. So that is a very fun game that I really like. And another arcade shooter, Lords of Thunder. I know it was released for other things too, like a Sega CD, but overall a very fun game, incredible music, and just overall a lot of fun. So speaking of the Sega CD, I think we'll move over to that next. So let me grab the Sega CD stuff here that I prepared. Not too many things to show from Sega CD, but of course the one thing that everyone knows about the Sega CD, we have Sonic CD. I don't have the full whole case length book, and I don't know why. I don't exactly know what the story with this smaller book is. But yeah, that's all I have. But overall, Sonic CD, very fun game. Some people consider it the best Sonic game of all time. I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, I know the levels are really neat. There's some pretty cool music in there. It's interesting to note that the Japanese version actually had different music. But why? I don't really know why it's the best Sonic game of all time. So if you think it is, I would love if you posted in the comments and told me why. Because like I said, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is probably my favorite 2D side-scrolling Sonic game. And I think it's quite a bit better than this. So I mean, like I said, I still really like it. But just overall, I don't see what gives it the title of best Sonic game. I'd love to know what other people are thinking in the comments, please. Because I'd like to see what maybe I'm missing. So here we have a still feed for a Sega CD. Another Sonic, another scrolling arcade shooter, and it's really neat. It's not really 3D, but it has 3D-ish graphics. It has incredible music too. And just overall a very fun game. And then the last thing I'm going to show from Sega CD is Dragon's Lair, a very interesting game. I have it for a number of other consoles too, like Philips CDI. But yeah, and 3DO. But overall, very probably well-known game. It's just pretty much trial and error. Just keep trying to get through those rooms, mashing everything you can until you eventually get through it. And it's pretty fun to get through. Definitely a different kind of game from the other things I've shown. Alright, what will we go after next? Alright, maybe I'll go for Saturn, and then we'll move away from Sega for a short bit. So here we go with the Saturn. Of course, there's going to be some Sonic games again. We have Sonic R. I actually really like Sonic R. And I don't mind the soundtrack. Like, some people really dread the soundtrack. Like, you have Super Sonic Racing and things like that. But overall, I don't know. I think it's a pretty fun game. Maybe just because, I don't know. But overall, I like it quite a bit. And you also have the Saturn version of Son 3D Blast. No, it's actually Sonic, but people like to place their price stickers right over words that you should probably read. But over different music than the Genesis version. Some of the music's a bit better, but the worst part is it's plagued with long loading times, which aren't exactly fun to wait through. Let's see, other things, of course, Doom. I have Doom for other consoles too, but I'm just deciding to show the Saturn version. Actually, still sealed. I have an unsealed one too. But very, very awesome game. I mean, but like I said, GoldenEye was actually my first-person shooter, so I wasn't one of the people who I wasn't in the whole PC gaming first-person shooter thing. So you had like Doom and Wolfenstein 3D and things like that. But eventually I went back and played them later, and they're still very, very fun to play. And one more thing from Sega Saturn, Galactic Attack. Yet another arcade shooter. I mean, I actually didn't realize how many I had to show. But I guess I just love them so much that that's the way it worked out. Also known in Japan as Laser Invasion. Sorry, not Laser Invasion. Laser Section. So, Galactic Attack and Laser Section. Of course, you can see the pictures on the front are the same, but for some reason they had to change the name when they brought it to North America. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why they make half the changes they do when they bring things to North America. Because, you know, no one would have bought the game if Kid Icarus, the new one, had some pink on the cover, so they had to change that. Oh, and also for Sega CD, I forgot a Soul Feast. Another scrolling shooter. Like I said, I didn't realize how many I actually had to show. It comes in a neat little flip thing here. Alright. Okay, maybe we'll take a break from Sega. Only Sega thing I have left to show is a Dreamcast, but we'll come back to that after we take a short intermission and we show the only Atari game I'm going to show, and that is Wolfenstein 3D for the Jaguar. Ugh, what a mess that console was. So yeah, one of the really only good games, Wolfenstein 3D, very fun, although it's pretty much one in a million of in a pool of garbage games for the Jaguar. It was a 64-bit system, not a chance. Let's see what else we got here. I guess moving along, we'll go to the 3DO. The only game I have to show for that, we have Super Street Fighter 2. 3DO, another system with not very many great games. And speaking of systems with not very many great games, Philips CDI, everybody. We have let's see, what am I holding up here? We have Link: The Faces of Evil and Hotel Mario. This is pretty much as good as it gets on the Philips CDI, and it's kind of scary to think about. Don't worry, we'll be talking about this one very soon, possibly next week. We'll be talking about the CDI and Link: The Faces of Evil. So I definitely want to get to that and say how bad it is. So yeah, let's see. Moving on.